And you're hanging out with two divas and a margarita, and I'm Diva Tosh.
And I am Diva Cass. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
I am excellent. I'm happy to be here today. This Sunday, we are rolling with a all-male panel. So you guys...
I was excited about this when I woke up this morning.
Really?
Yeah, I was. Me and
Be
you,
afraid.
four guys.
Be very afraid.
I've been in here for some of these.
We're safe. We don't bite.
We don't bite. We're nice ladies.
We don't bite on Sundays.
No. So we are excited about this all-male panel because we're going to be asking you guys some tough questions. If you think we're getting too personal, be like, Cass, back off. I'm a little animated, so that's why you see my hands.
Or raise your hands.
Cass, back off. You're asking too much. But we are happy for you to be here, and we want to go around the table. We want to have each of you introduce yourselves and give us your occupation. And we'll start with you, Kasim. How are you, Kasim?
I'm good.
Kasim, what do you do for a living?
I am a barber. I've been one for the past 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
so
a long time.
That means he's
I started when I was
professional.
15,
You're like,
just playing around.
really? What? You know, I've known you a while. I didn't know you started at 15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See, you learn something new every day
Yeah.
Every day.
on the show.
What's your favorite thing about being a barber?
The kids.
Mm-hmm.
I like dealing with kids.
Oh, that's such a nice answer.
So,
You
not the
like dealing
grown-ups.
with kids.
Yeah, I like kids.
What's the big issue with adults?
Adults are mean.
No,
don't
they all right, but dealing with adults in Detroit,
Okay.
that's the problem.
So do you mentor these kids when, you know?
When they
Some
sit
of
in your
'em-
seat.
Some of them I sponsor doing football or, you know, some of them I buy like video games for their birthdays. The ones I really, you know, close to.
So you got a big heart.
Yeah, for kids.
Yeah.
I think because I wanted more. I just didn't have them.
The big guy with the big heart.
Yeah.
I like that.
What?
I
No,
get
I
along
didn't.
with all kids. I could break all kids down. So I love all kids, and I just get along with them.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you for being here, Kasim.
Thank you.
Ed.
Hey,
How you doing, Ed?
good. Yourself?
I'm pretty good. I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, good to be seeing you.
Ed, tell
Glad
us.
to be seen.
I like that. Ed, we're going to have a lot of fun here today. Ed, what do you do for a living?
I'm an engineer, electrical engineer to be specific. Work for Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
They got me as an engineer down at FCA.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What does that stand for? SC.
FCA, I'm sorry.
Oh,
it's,
FCA?
Yeah, Fiat Chrysler Automobile.
Okay,
Whoa,
I'm sorry. I should
okay.
have
That's
known
their
that.
technical new name now.
Oh, okay.
Should have known that.
He's giving out all the information and the address is. You might have a few ladies knocking at your door, Ed.
What is it, 10,000 Chrysler Drives? Like, no.
What is your favorite part about your job?
I like the hands-on. What we put together, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
So,
So you're good with your hands.
yeah, I mean, we do more, I would say, quote-unquote paperwork is more computer-type stuff now. But once it all comes together, yeah, we get to handle it, you know, inspect it, make sure it's what we designed and all
Okay.
that stuff. So, yeah.
Are you in the design process as well?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Sounds really interesting,
Yeah, it is. It has its ups and downs, but it's,
as most jobs
yes.
do.
yeah.
But overall, you like it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Rafe.
Ray's over there with
Rafe
a lean. He got a lean.
Yeah, chill.
Gonna be comfortable, right?
You might as well.
Rafe.
Just don't start sticking your feet up on the table.
Rafe, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Rafe, I'm well. I'm happy that you're here. Me and you have had tons of talks about different things. What do you do for a living, Rafe?
I'm a carpenter and owner of CNR Building.
CNR Building.
Yep.
And you enjoy what you do.
Oh, I definitely highly enjoy what I do.
And I am a client of yours.
Yes, you are. Long-time client.
I am, but I'm not a difficult client.
Nope, you got a lot of ideas.
I got a lot of ideas. You know, I be coming with the ideas like, Ray, knock this wall out. I don't
She the
know if
boss.
it's load bearing, but make it happen.
Right.
And you always make it happen. So
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate you. You own the business.
Yes, I do.
You've been doing this how long?
I've been in business for myself since 2003. However, I've been in the trades since since 89.
Ooh,
Wow, you guys look really young.
that's a long
Since
time.
For
89.
you-
I graduated in 89, and I started right out in the trades in 89.
Mhm. What made you interested in the trades?
at first I didn't know which direction I was supposed to go in as far as architectural design or a carpenter. But when I researched it, I found out I wanted to be a carpenter. Because architects are cool, but I actually want to be hands-on and do it.
Okay.
And so that brought me into being a carpenter.
And you build houses from the ground up.
Yes, from the ground up.
Okay.
I'm actually building one right now as we speak in Novi.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's mine.
You know what? You know what impresses me about these guys? They know what they wanted to do. Because I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up.
You're doing it. You're on Two
Oh.
Divas and a Margarita. What are you talking
I'm
about?
doing it. Thank you. I'm good
All
now.
right, let's move on along over here to Derek.
Derek.
Derek, how you doing?
Good.
You know we moved this show back an hour just so
for
you
Derek.
could watch football.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
See, we didn't even have to
We
do
could
it.
have gone with 4 o'clock.
We could have.
No, we did. We got beat bad.
All right, it was bad.
Yeah, it was ugly.
All right, what do you do for a living, Derek?
I'm a registered nurse.
RN.
Yes.
A nurse.
Yes.
That's what I like
Yes,
to call
yes.
you.
Gaylord Fokker.
We all know.
I had to think about that name. Like, okay, I know I remember that name. Okay.
What's
It's a
your
good movie.
favorite thing about being a nurse?
I
And
think
that's a rewarding job.
Yeah, I think early on, the thing that I started to like the most was the education. Kasim said something about dealing with adults in Detroit. I think that covers a broad range of things. And so education as far as especially the African-American male in Detroit when it comes to their health care, because we don't get treated the same. So
Wow.
I think the educational aspect and encouraging people to take care of their own health care, and also just letting them know, because you'd be surprised some of the people that are in the hospital for things and don't understand anything that's going on because the doctors speak to them so clinically all the time, and then you're able to go in, close the door, sit down and talk to them and kind of break things down to them so they can understand what's going on, what's the next step in the process so they can make the best decision, because we just get passed over a lot when it comes to healthcare.
Wow. What do you think we can do about that?
Really, that's what I'm doing. Is if you know something, just education and really access to resources, letting people know that some resources are there, because historically, in cities that have the makeup of Detroit, that socioeconomic status, we kind of go away from the hospital and healthcare. We have something, we just feel like, in 2 days it'll be okay, and so we go. And really just reaching out, education, and letting people know that resources are there, because a lot of times people wait until too late.
So we as patients should be asking more questions.
Oh, definitely, and demanding that it's explained to you in a term in a way that you can understand it.
Okay.
And Derek does some public speaking too, right?
Yeah, tell us about Derek Speak.
Yeah.
Derek Speaks.
There you go.
That was a little plug. Just in the schools, actually about to go up to Lansing this week and do a couple of
Wow.
things in some schools there. Just trying to put, again, young black professionals in front of young black students, because the neighborhood that I grew up in, wasn't a lot of people that were there as professionals. We thought that you had to grow up and go work on the assembly line, write a rap, play ball, something like that. And there's nothing wrong. We just lost my father, but he worked 30-something years at Chrysler, and there was nothing wrong with him working on the assembly line. But there's so much more out there for us, and you can't really desire something that you don't know of. So I would take a physical therapist and a young black physical therapist in the schools, and the students are like, "You're a physical therapist? What is a physical therapist?
Right.
And then how do you get there?" So just trying to expose them to things so they can dream differently.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, you guys ready? We're ready.
Ready?
First question, and the reason we're doing this panel is because men and women, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We're always at two different ends. We think differently. In our relationships, we wonder why our mate is thinking one way and we're thinking another. So there's obviously a lot of questions that women have for men, and naturally I would think the other way around. Am I correct in saying that? So y'all don't care about what we think? No.
I know.
Or how we
what y'all
feeling? I mean, come on.
You guys are going to express.
think. I know what
y'all
y'all
Okay.
think.
Well, this show today is about getting into the minds of the men. So I'm going to start with the first question. And my question to you is, we've all heard this. Is it true that men look for their mothers in a potential mate? Anybody want to start?
Yes,
You do?
definitely.
Can you
I
elaborate?
look for that.
Really?
Yeah, I was looking for that when I was with my son's mother at 17, and I didn't get it.
Right.
But
And I kept waiting on it to develop, and it never did. And next thing you know, I'm 20 years in a hole.
But you said you were looking for your mother in this. Obviously, there was something you saw, maybe, of your mother and her to start off.
No, it was all looks.
It was
I mean,
It was
that's
all.
a true thing.
It was all.
But you were 17,
looks.
so that's
Yeah,
what it was
it's
about.
Right.
You were 17.
It was all looks.
Okay.
But later, when I started developing, after I had my kids, and I started developing to a man,
Yeah.
and I started listening to my mother
yeah.
and watch what she did to raise 3 kids by herself. I was waiting on her to develop in that because I kept hearing people tell me, "Oh, just let her develop it," and it just never happened. You look up 20 years.
Well-
You didn't waste 20 years of your life.
Let me ask you. You said you were waiting for her to develop it. Did you ever communicate this to her?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, it
how
started.
did you say it? I want you to be more like my mother. Or?
No,
Yeah,
no,
can you
no,
tell a
I
woman
never-
that?
No,
I don't
no,
think
you
we
can't.
wanna hear
you
that.
can't at the beginning. You can't because you don't want her. I didn't want her to throw it up in my face.
Right.
So,
But inside,
inside,
you wanted.
but
it.
it's ways out. It's everything start off talking.
Okay.
Start off communicating.
Okay.
It goes from there to when you start developing or not developing, delivering. You start getting attitude, and that's when it started going downhill.
Okay.
So every time, then she noticed, oh, you want me to just be like your mother. No, I want you to care about me and your son like my mother cared about us,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
and it just never happened.
Okay. Fair enough.
When y'all chiming in. All right.
I feel like, yeah, it's to a degree. I think you look for a woman like your mother unconsciously.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Not directly, but unconsciously you want
So
those
that
things.
first woman in your life has a tremendous impact, you would say.
or a good representation of your mom.
Yep.
Unconsciously, you don't look like, say, everything mom does and do. This is what I want you to do. You know what I'm saying? Unconsciously, you do it, and then sometimes they line up, and you have you can look over here and say, my mom do this. You know what I'm saying? And then those are things that you judge by her deeming to be a good woman.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, like you said, you don't find that.
You wait.
Right, you waited too long, and you probably knew it, but just thought she was gonna turn it into something else. And when women do it too, they try to wait for a man to turn into something they think
We think we can
Yeah.
mold
they
them.
want him to be, and they don't. And as years later, you mature, and you see women and men as just being who they are. That's like
Yeah.
you got to take it who you are.
Okay.
And I guess at our rightful age,
Yeah.
be like, hey, take me as I am, or
Right.
don't at all.
Oh, okay.
I think for myself, I have to take it a step further, just because I was close not only to my mother but also my grandmothers.
Ooh, those
So-
are hard shoes to fill. A grandmother's shoes?
Yeah.
Those are hard shoes
Exactly.
to fill.
And
Yeah.
so I find myself even today being very, very picky. I mean, in a sense, it's like looking for Wonder Woman, and and I had to.
But
double
picky's
down
okay.
on-
I think
Yeah.
you should be picky.
But I still had to double down on that because I'm not Superman.
Yeah. I like
As
that.
much as I want to be, I know I'm not perfect. So, I had to reevaluate what I was looking for. Just like the scene say, looks, you really gotta throw it out.
That's the
window,
first one.
But you still gotta be attracted to them.
You gotta be comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you look at those characters, those traits that they have, and when you relying on what you know about not only your mom and your grandmother, it's like.
Those
It's
are
like,
Yeah.
girl,
big
what are you
shoes to
doing?
fill.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, girl,
Yeah.
what are you doing with yourself? Yeah.
Derek, what do you have to say?
I agree with Rafe. I think it's like you said, indirectly, and I'll just kind of double back on something I said earlier. You can't really desire what you don't know, and so I think that's why you look for what your mother is, because you grew up seeing that. That's what you were around, and so I think one of the challenges that we have, and of course we have a different age range here, but then Ed went further and said even his grandmother, and we have to look at the way the world has changed, where we've seen our grandmothers or our mothers stay at home and do everything
Yeah.
for our fathers, some of us, and now the world says, depending on how much you're making, she can't sit at home. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And you need two economies. And so now you're starting to be, some people are expecting that same kind of characteristics, that same kind of service, that same kind of do all of this and then love me too.
Yeah.
And I love you back. But the woman is saying, well, I have to stand on my own 2 feet. This is 2017.
Yeah.
It's not, the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Whereas some men look at it as like, man, they just don't make women like they used to no more. It's like, well, the world ain't like it used to be anymore.
It isn't.
And so when you see your mother, you expect that from somebody, but it's just a different time, as a different set of values, different exposure, just as times change, everything else changes. And I think that's where an issue comes in
Right.
on that subject.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I might be a little premature in saying this, but just listening to some of these answers, I think if some of these type of conversations were held closer to the beginning of a relationship, as far as some of the expectations we have and that mate that we're having, the divorce rate might be a little lower.
It's a good possibility.
I don't know. Derek's saying I don't know.
I think because even the best man
Yeah.
and even the best woman is wired initially to think of numero uno. Now, you can sacrifice and do some things and say, hey, I want my woman or I want my man to be happy. But I think in the beginning,
I think we're wired
Chris Rock-
today to think of numero uno.
But I think
Not-
Chris Rock said it best. He said the first 6 months you dating somebody, you're not with them. You're with their representative.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I know, and that's me too, because I can be great
Yeah.
that first 6 months. You're gonna be like, "Yo, Derek is," even if you're talking to somebody who's in a relationship,
Yeah.
and
That's
they
relationship,
man
Derek.
doing them wrong, they man is doing them wrong. Oh, you the perfect guy. I can't believe he did that. I think I would have done this way. And she just like, oh my goodness, you are
Yeah.
so sweet. And then when you get where you like, I see why he was acting crazy,
Ah,
because
I
you
can't
crazy.
argue
You know what
with
I'm saying? After that first 6 months.
Because
I
it's
agree
hard
with
to
you.
keep up a facade
It is.
Yeah.
forever.
It
I
is.
mean, eventually the true you has to come out. So,
Yeah.
um,
Okay, well, how do you feel about women who suppress their feelings in order to save an argument or just to be like non-argumentative? Because, guys always talk about woman nag and, you have those women that might be the quiet ones that's not going to speak up and just go along with everything you want to go with. And then you're going to have those women that are very combative. It's like, you ain't going to tell me what to do, So, I'm speaking for myself because I was one of those women that suppressed my feelings for a long time, but I think that might have been part of my upbringing. In the islands, it's like I'm from the Caribbean, and women are supposed to be seen and not heard.
Not mine.
But she's been living in Michigan for a minute. So,
They got more of it.
but ultimately, as I got older, that proposed some problems in my relationship. So, any thoughts on that?
I would say so. I had a relationship where my ex-wife didn't speak and say what she wanted to say. She held it back, and then when she would let it build up and
Yeah.
she, let it fire,
That buildup is something
it's
else.
like, man, you know what I'm saying? You just hurt my feelings, made me cry. All of that in one. It's like, why didn't you tell me that when we could have dealt with it? You know what I'm saying? It's like you let me feel and believe one thing, and now after all this time, you know what I'm saying, you telling me something else. You know what I'm saying? That's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
And I
It was
think
hard to deal with.
I think also it makes you start hating somebody if you don't tell them how you feel. Because
Yeah.
now you're not telling me that you don't like it when I take the last Twinkie, because you think it's just gonna create an argument. I'm just, of course, using this just in
Right.
a situation, but you never say it. So every time I see the last Twinkie, you never
don't
eat
take
it.
it.
So I'm taking that joint. And then over 6 months, you like, I can't stand this fool. He keep on, or for anything that you don't tell to somebody on the inside, you're looking at them and you're really starting to dislike
Yeah.
them
And
because
you-
they keep doing it.
but
And-
you
and
can't
the guy-
blame that
and-
person for not knowing what's in your head.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna
we know
keep
that
on. I'm
now.
gonna keep eating the Twinkie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep going in there, or whatever it is that you're not telling me that you don't like. I'm going to continue doing it because I don't know. You're upset. Then again, I think when you don't share that and you start feeling that way towards your mate, I think it opens up room for you to start wanting to step out in that relationship as well, because then people start looking better because this person is constantly doing something. Every time y'all ask a question today, just let me say this, because everybody here except Rafe, I think, know my story. Kasim and Ed know where I'm coming from, so I'm gonna wait until y'all answer the question because I got a lot to say about it all when it comes to relationships.
Well, the hard part is they have this saying, pick and choose your battles. The question is, what are you picking and what are you choosing? Which battle are you going to really, fight. So, and you're right. You know, that buildup is something else. Because I know with me, I was like a Coke bottle that somebody just shook. When I went there, I didn't even know who I was. You know, it's a scary thing.
Okay.
You ever thought?
You know, I think in the past, a lot of situations, because of what I went through, being in a bad relationship for 20 years, I had got the attitude where it's easy for me to walk away.
Okay.
Once I said who I am and what I'm about, it was just easy for me to walk away, and I knew that was a problem.
The walking away part?
The walking away, because I didn't give anything a chance.
Right.
And so it took me at least 10 years to straighten that out.
Wow.
What took place for you to recognize that?
You know, I was looking for the number one issue that I had with women that I was dating. I wanted somebody to come in and take this role with my son.
Okay.
And that wasn't their responsibility.
Right.
You know, that's something they had to do from their heart. And whenever I seen a sign that they weren't going to do that, I found the excuse to walk away. And once I did it, it was so easy to do it because I had to end a marriage after 20 years.
Yeah.
And I had to end it, not she had to end it. I had to end it. And once I ended, I was like, wow, this is pretty easy to walk away. But I knew that was bad because I wasn't going to never find nobody else if I kept doing that. And so you just have to take time out as a real man has to take time out by himself.
You're right. Yeah.
And they don't have to deal with sex, nothing. You just have to be with yourself. And I think I finally found it once my son went away for school and I knew I was by myself. And once I was by myself, I said, wow, I've been spending my whole life raising him. What I'm going to do for me? And I thought buying cars and clothes and going out of town was working, but it wasn't. That wasn't me as a man. So you just have to take time out for yourself to really, really know what you want. Really, I mean, it's deep, you know, than what I can explain, but you really have
No,
to.
I understand.
But how do you feel about a woman suppressing her feelings? This is your woman, your wife or your girlfriend or whatever the case may be. Would you rather her keep it inside or
No, that's bad.
let you know what she is
Yeah,
feeling?
that is really bad for everybody.
I
If she
agree.
keep it inside, if you don't let it out from the beginning, it's going to end up being a bad relationship.
Yeah.
You got to let it out. Both parties got to let it out. Men and women got to let it out at the beginning. If you don't, it's going to end up and it's going to come out ugly.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you don't need no more enemies.
No.
Right.
You know,
No.
you
Not
need the
when you
most-
live with.
even if you know you break up, you need that person need to be a friend because you never know somewhere down the line y'all might need each other. You can pick the phone up and call them, but it's not bad. You got to talk at the beginning, and that's what hard. It's really hard for men to do that
Okay.
because we supposed to, especially a man from the hood. I'm from the hood.
Yeah.
Sandra, no,
Yeah.
I'm from the hood deep, and it's hard for us to talk. It's really hard for us to
But
talk.
I
and
think
we
a
have to
lot of
learn
that
on our
comes
own.
with growth and maturity because
Yeah.
I think, 20 years ago, I think bringing it out could have been like it started off as an argument, maybe. Maybe today, I
The
think
tone.
tone is
The
everything.
tone is everything.
Tone is everything. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to move on. I'm going to give you guys this question, and we're giving you some kind of warm-up questions. Filling you out a little bit, because the real tough ones are going to come. But, Ray, you mentioned a good woman. So, I mean, what in your eyes is a good woman? And I would think it's probably different for each person sitting here, your definition. But let's start with you, because you did mention a good woman. What do you think a good woman is for Rafe?
A good woman for Rafe would is I guess just somebody who knows me.
Well, that comes in time.
Well, yeah, it comes in time, but it also is like you ever saw something off rip, you knew like that's for me.
Okay.
You know. You ever had that kind of feeling like you went to the car lot and
It's always men in cars.
you saw that one car out of all of them.
You fell in love.
Out of all those,
Oh, yeah.
Toyotas, you saw that one. That you're like, I like that one. It was just something about that one.
Okay.
It's just that's how women are, or for me anyway. With me, it's just something about that one. It's like, oh yeah, And once you get to know them, they give off key signs to let you know that they're that one. Or you could say, whether y'all work out or not, you can say, well, she a good woman because she's got this trait. She's got this quality. She, you know, it ain't nothing about no looks. 'Cause looks is what attracts me first, but ultimately, the things that I hear her talk about and I feel her and believe her and what she say and what she do, that's what I can determine, like, that's a good woman to me in my eyes.
Okay.
You know, regardless if we have a relationship or not. I mean, most of the women that I've met in my lifetime, I haven't had a relationship with, but I still deem them as good women.
Okay.
So,
Ed, what's a good woman to you?
Well, just having her own stuff together, you know. That way, because how I look at it for myself, I would want to go into a relationship where I'm sort of whole, like I got my stuff together, so I would expect, you know, that person to be the same way. That way, we could come together and it don't be a lot of outside influences that's messing us up.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times, you know, I've let baggage ruin relationships. So, you know, now you knowing that, you know, you suppress all that stuff. You got to go.
Okay.
No matter if, you know, like Kasim say, I am friends with a lot of my exes and relationships, however you want to put it. But it's like, okay, you can't do that right now because you know that I'm talking to such and such or whatever. So, and I expect that too from, you know,
your
a
lady
woman.
love.
Exactly. And you don't want to deal with like major stuff that they're dealing with because that's like, dang, like seriously, you come into this and now
That baggage could always mess a relationship
That's
up.
tough.
Yeah.
Right. But you know, that's why I try to live the same way. Like a lot of times I put relationships on hold. Like I think I met some good women in my life, and I can admit that I messed it up.
Okay.
And
What did you learn from that?
well, that's the thing. I knew that I had to get myself together.
Okay.
And so there's certain things that I want to do or certain, like even now, you know, career-wise, I think that it has to be important as a man, as a provider, for even provide for yourself.
Yeah.
I see so many guys where they're just not doing nothing, and these girls are just all over them.
Yes.
I don't even understand.
Oh, I hate that.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's a whole nother
That's a
show.
whole
I hate
itself.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I hate
No
that.
shade on those guys.
Yeah.
All, you know, all
I
power
throw
to them.
shade on them. I throw shade on them.
You know, I can't knock that game. You know,
Right.
that's awesome. But
right.
it's the
I don't
fact
knock
of the
it
matter.
either.
My
I
thing
gotta
is-
knock it. I gotta knock it.
I'm with him.
But as a man, you
But
don't
it's not
feel-
me.
Exactly.
Never
I
have.
know, I know.
but
Right.
I feel you though.
I gotta knock it.
Right.
But you don't feel comfortable in that situation.
Exactly. I want to make sure that, you know, Ed is right.
No doubt.
So, you know.
Okay.
Good. Good.
I used to hold true to that for a little while when, you know, that I didn't want to date anyone serious because I didn't have my stuff in order like I want for me. But that was an excuse. And I let
Wisdom.
I let a lot of good women go for
Look at
doing
y'all
that.
letting all
Yeah.
these
You know what I'm
good
saying? It's
women
like-
go.
Yeah, I let
and-
quite a few go.
I mean, I had a friend tell me, she's like, Rafe, you can't keep on just meeting these good women, because I would talk to her and tell her, like, I met this person and this, and this, and she was like, oh, she sounds like a good woman. I was like, 'cause if I talk about you, then you most likely a good woman. And she was like, you can't keep letting these good women go. I was like, well, I wasn't together and I ain't had it. She's like, that ain't got nothing to do with it. If you meet a good woman and she about you, then she'll help you get yourself together, or she'll push you in a direction or motivate you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To do whatever's necessary so you can be comfortable with yourself.
So, Ray,
to
do
give
you
to her.
think maybe that when you say that was an excuse, is it an excuse because you just were not ready to settle down at that time, and so you were using that as an excuse, saying you don't have yourself together?
Nope. My whole reason was because I didn't have myself presentable in a way that I've seen. Because I've been in relationships where I thought my position, status was good enough, and then women holding their tongue. At the end of the day, I wasn't.
So it was your personal value
you go.
system. It was
Right.
Like your okay.
So now that comes back to a woman not saying what she, like this, and this, comes back and bites you in the ass. You know what I'm saying? So and it did. So now for me, I'm like, well, I'm gonna make sure I have all my I's dotted and all my T's crossed before I even do X, Y, Z. And then, but then that's carrying baggage from one friendship to another friendship because, this new friend may not care what the last one did, but what the damage that the last one opposed upon you. Now you take that with you. You know what I'm saying? You hold it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, well, I'm going to make sure I'm together. But while I'm trying to make sure I'm together, me and this new person, we can't do this. We can't do that. And she like, oh, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? You playing.
Yeah.
You ain't trying to move forward. You ain't, you know what I'm saying? So there's another good woman gone.
Wow. Good
This
good
is
woman
kinda
just being
therapeutic.
tossed about. I mean, come on, y'all. Derek, what's a good woman to you?
Man, that's a lot. But briefly, somebody who, because I think we're taught as men, how can I help you fulfill your dreams? But as somebody who's going to give that reciprocity, when I'm ready to get into a goal, you're ready to go to war with me too. Even if it means sacrificing some of your time or some of your goals for me at a specific, I'm just saying at a specific time, not overall. But we are taught, and like Ray said, I didn't want to get with the girl because I felt like I didn't have my stuff together. But then somebody told him, well, maybe she can help you. It probably wasn't his intention. He's not going in, well, maybe she can help me get there. But when I'm with her, if it happens that I lose my job or I run into some hard times, or because you got some women that's like, oh, this Negro lost his job, and then she gonna go tell her girls and all them like, oh, no, you don't need that, and then she out.
Right.
But when
Right,
I mean, even for instance, with my wife now, it blew my mind because she saw me building my brand and she heard me talking to one of my friends. And I was like, well, it's not smart for me to get this piece of equipment right now. And so she just heard me on the phone saying this, and it was an expensive piece of equipment. And then 2 days later, because she was ear hustling on my conversation, but she believed in what I was doing, and she was like, you're good at what you do. She came to me and was like, hey, I'm going to get this piece of equipment for you for your birthday. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, wait,
wow.
what?
That
You know
is
what
a
I'm
good
saying?
woman.
But now it's a good woman, but I got to say this. This is the caveat. She did say it because she was like, I believe this is going to be good for you. And then a couple of the checks that I showed her from doing that, I think she was like, we need to help you get more of those. And so she bought it. And so she bought it. And so she bought into the plan. But I think somebody who is, and I want to go here and then I'll back out and be quiet. I think I want to be loved too. And I think men are afraid to say that. But a woman that's not afraid to show me
Wow.
that she loves me. And I think
Yeah.
women today, especially the black woman is bent on, and it's only regional because when you get outside of your area and you go to some different places that have a different economic background, different socioeconomic status, you begin to see different things. I saw Detroit for so long, and when I got out of it and started meeting people, I was like, wait a minute, that's a whole different mindset. But I want a woman that's not afraid or ashamed to say, I really love you, and to a certain extent, because of the way I'm made emotionally, I need you. But you have women so bent on trying to prove to a man that I don't need you. I don't need you. I love you. I want to be with you. But it's like, I'm like, no, you're made. You were created to
Right.
need me the same way I need you. We need
Yeah.
each other.
Thank
So
you.
if you can be vulnerable and let me know that, I think that's a good woman. You're gonna go to war with me no matter what.
Right.
And you're not afraid to say, I love you and I need you, and you can show that to me, and then I can love you and I can make sure that you feel the security that you want to feel.
I like how he broke that down. I like that.
I'm gonna say this because the modern day woman is basically brought up to believe you don't need a man. Now I'm just being real here because we're gonna
Yeah.
talk real today.
Right.
The modern day woman is brought up in that way. As far as money wise, no, we may not need a man. But I do need you to love me. That is what I need
Yeah.
from a man. So, and maybe some women don't understand. They actually need to say that. No, I can buy my house. I can buy my car. I can take care of myself. But what you ultimately need from another person is love. So I think, just like you said, it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely.
You need someone to love you.
Yeah.
I said it.
But that's cool. But what I think women don't understand is a man being a man, you naturally want to be the provider.
Yeah.
You naturally want to be.
Oh, naturally, we want you to be. Trust me.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Right.
we
I
are
don't argue
brought
with
up that way, but my father was a provider. My mom never worked. If she worked, it wasn't long term. He was a provider. That's what I know in my life. So to me, when a man cannot provide, I do look at him in a strange way. I do, because this is how I was brought up. Now, I'm not in the same situation as my parents were as far as my mom staying at home, because I can't stay home. I have